A newly surfaced document published in the DOJ's Epstein database reveals that an inmate once told the FBI that he overheard prison guards talking about covering up Epstein's death on the morning the sex offender died. The document includes 5 handwritten pages of notes from the unidentified inmate's FBI interview. And while unsubstantiated, the details are likely to raise more questions about Epstein's death, which was officially ruled a suicide. Joining us now, Julie K. Brown, investigative reporter for the Miami Herald. It's good to see you again, Julie. The inmate claimed that the whole wing, as I understand it, overheard this exchange among guards. Tell us what the notes from the FBI say.
Well, this particular inmate said that he woke up to the commotion of them discovering that something was wrong, in the SHU, which is the special housing unit for people like Epstein who are supposed to be watched more carefully. And in this particular case, he heard, the yelling and the screaming, and of course it roused him up. And he told the FBI that he heard them say something to the effect of, "You dudes, you killed this dude, you killed him." And then another female guard saying, "Well, we don't have to worry about this because we're going to cover it up, and my guys are going to have an alibi," or words to that effect. And so, this raises questions about what actually happened on that night, and for good reason. There's been a lot of errors we know now there were a lot of errors made that night. And if you really look at the whole picture and all the problems that they had, I think that it's worthy to take a look at this inmate's statement, even though it was uncorroborated.
So I know that you tried to reach the lawyer for the female guard who was working. MS Now has tried to reach her lawyer. But what else do we know about her and for that matter, the others who were on duty that day?
Well, she was a relatively new correctional officer, as I understand it. And the other thing that came out over the weekend was the New York Post was the first to discover, and I also found the documents myself that showed that the DOC investigators, the DOJ investigators, actually did some work on her finances, got her banking statements, and you could see them in the files, and it shows that she had quite a number of cash deposits into her bank account. So that's suspicious. And she apparently searched for Epstein's name just 40 minutes before his body was found. So, there's all these pieces that don't make sense and have never made sense, going back to the July 23rd when they found him laying on the floor of a cell. And his first words when he regained consciousness was, "My cellmate tried to kill me." He never said that he tried to commit suicide. In fact, all the psychological reports say that he felt that he had a good case, that he was hiring lawyers, that he had a great life. There's no indication at all that he was suicidal in these psychological evaluations. So one has to wonder why they didn't investigate and seem to, I guess, believe his cellmate who told him that Epstein tried to commit suicide. His cellmate was a quadruple killer, by the way, and they believed him when he said that Epstein tried to commit suicide, even though Epstein said that wasn't the case.
Let me make sure that I have this right as well, that when you talk about these cash deposits that were made by this guard, they were for, as I understand it, thousands of dollars, and Epstein's former cellmate also told prison officials that he did tell Epstein he'd be safer if he paid inmates and guards for protection.
Yeah, this was a common thing that was happening at that prison. They did some subsequent investigation, and there were a lot of payments that were being made. There were a lot of cell phones. They did these through Cash Apps. This particular guard, by the way, had a lot of money coming in from Cash Apps as well. Some of these deposits, by the way, predated Epstein even coming into the prison. So it might be an indication that there was already a system in place for these extortion or these payments, protection payments, were common in that prison. But she did have one $5,000 cash deposit on July 30th, which was just after Epstein's alleged suicide attempt and just before his actual death. So it was right in the middle of that time she deposited $5,000 cash into her account.
As you point out, it's going to raise a lot more questions as this story continues. Julie K. Brown, it's always good to talk to you. Thank you so much.